Along the warm and ancient shores of the Swahili Coast, where the Indian Ocean breathes gently against white sands, there once lived a people who believed that the sea listened, that the wind remembered, and that wisdom traveled quietly from one generation to the next. In those days, stone houses stood firm against time, their coral walls shaped by hands that understood patience. Palm trees leaned toward the ocean as if forever bowing in respect, and wooden dhows floated calmly, guided not only by sails but by trust in the unseen currents. It was in one such coastal town that a woman named Amina lived. Amina was not known for loud words. She was not famous for beauty or wealth. She was not feared, nor did she seek attention. Yet those who truly observed her noticed something rare. Where others rushed, she waited. Where others argued, she listened. Where others reacted, she thought. Amina was married to a man named Jabari. Jabari was strong, broad-shouldered, and admired by many. He was a fisherman whose arms bore the marks of long days at sea. In the marketplace, his laughter carried farther than most, and his stories grew larger each time they were told. But admiration, when left unchecked, often grows into arrogance. At first, Jabari was kind. In the early days of their marriage, he listened to Amina. He valued her thoughts. He came home with stories meant to be shared, not performed. But as time passed, the praise from outsiders grew louder than the quiet wisdom waiting for him at home. And slowly, almost invisibly, Jabari began to change. Jabari began staying longer in the marketplace, surrounded by friends who fed his pride. They laughed at his jokes, but never warned him when he crossed the line. At home, Amina waited. She prepared meals that grew cold. She listened to excuses spoken without guilt. She noticed how decisions were made without her. Jabari began speaking at her instead of with her. He interrupted. He dismissed. He assumed. And yet, Amina did not fight. The neighbors noticed her silence. Why does she endure this? They whispered. Why does she not challenge him? Is she afraid? But Amina was not afraid. She understood something deeper than anger. She knew that a man intoxicated by pride does not hear reason. She knew that confrontation would only sharpen his defensiveness, turning him further away from reflection. So, she watched. She watched Jabari spend household money carelessly. She watched him promise what he could not deliver. She watched him slowly lose the respect of those who mattered, while clinging to the applause of those who did not. And she waited, because wisdom, when rushed, becomes noise. Each evening, Amina would sit near the shoreline, listening to the waves. The sea had taught her patience. It never argued with the rocks. It shaped them quietly over time. She reflected deeply. She asked herself questions most people avoid. How do I protect my marriage without destroying my partner? How do I teach without humiliating? How do I correct without controlling? Amina knew that love was not obedience and partnership was not dominance. She also knew this truth. A man does not value wisdom he believes he already owns. So, she made a choice that required courage far greater than confrontation. She decided to step back, not out of bitterness, not out of surrender, but out of strategy. Amina stopped advising Jabari. When he made poor decisions, she did not correct him. When he exaggerated his plans, she did not challenge him. When he dismissed her presence, she did not chase his attention. She became calm, observant, still. At first, Jabari interpreted this silence as approval. His confidence grew louder, his behavior grew bolder, and Amina let it, because wisdom sometimes allows the lesson to teach itself. Without Amina's quiet management, small cracks began to appear. Jabari forgot important arrangements. He misjudged the weather. He trusted the wrong people. A fishing net he once repaired carefully was left unattended. It tore in the sea, costing him a day's catch. He blamed the waves. He blamed fate. He blamed everything except himself. His friends slowly stopped showing up. Applause fades quickly when it demands payment. At home, silence greeted him. Not cold silence, not angry silence, just absence. Amina continued her life. She helped neighbors, she advised women, she spoke respectfully when spoken to. And slowly, the community began to notice something Jabari had overlooked. Amina's presence brought clarity. People listened when she spoke. Conflict softened in her company. Decisions improved around her. And Jabari began to feel something unfamiliar. Discomfort. For the first time, he wondered why his strength felt heavy and her calm felt powerful. One evening, Jabari returned earlier than usual. He found Amina sorting grains, her movement steady, unhurried. He wanted to speak, but pride stopped him. So, he watched. And in that watching, realization began to form. He saw how she never interrupted, how she never raised her voice, how people leaned closer when she spoke. And for the first time, Jabari questioned himself. When did I stop listening? When did I start believing volume was authority? When did I confuse admiration for respect? That night, sleep avoided him. The ocean outside moved as it always had, indifferent to his unrest. By morning, Jabari knew something had to change. But change that is forced rarely lasts. So, instead of demanding forgiveness, he chose humility. Jabari approached Amina slowly. There was no performance in his voice, no defense in his posture. He spoke quietly. I have been loud. I have been careless. I have mistaken your silence for weakness. Amina did not interrupt. He continued, I want to learn what I ignored. Amina listened until he finished. Then she spoke, not with accusation, not with pride. With patience, she said, comes clarity. With listening comes understanding. With partnership comes strength. She did not scold him, she did not lecture, she invited him. From that day forward, decisions became shared. Not because Jabari was told to share them, but because he understood why he should. Change did not happen overnight. Habits do not dissolve instantly. But Jabari practiced listening. He paused before speaking. He consulted before acting. And Amina guided without controlling. Their home shifted, not into perfection, but into balance. The community noticed. They saw a man who led without shouting, a woman who influenced without force, a partnership built on respect. And the elders smiled because they knew this truth well. A wise woman does not break her home to prove a point. She builds understanding where anger would burn bridges. And they would add, a wise man listens not because he is weak, but because he understands that strength without wisdom is empty. The ocean still whispers this lesson today, to those willing to listen. Marriage is not ownership. Partnership is not control. Wisdom is not loud. And sometimes the greatest victory is not being right, but being wise enough to wait.